Folks, welcome back. I have your latest home prices and insights for Peel and Durham region for week ending June 29th, 2022. So much drama in this market these days. Let me tell you an unfortunate situation this family has themselves in, but it could have totally been preventable. So I receive a call. This family is in a panic. They've been on the market for 4 weeks. They're terminating their listing now. But they've been on the market, very few showings, not a lot happening. They're stressed out that they're not going to sell. The reason they're so stressed is that 6 weeks prior, they purchased a home. And now they need to sell in order to close. And the closing on their new home was a short closing. So this whole situation now has this family stressed and in a panic. I asked them a bunch of questions to find out more about the situation, and I was trying to understand why they would buy first in this market and not sell first. I couldn't figure out why, and they said they took the advice of the realtor they were working with. I couldn't figure out why they would buy first. Now I know if we go back many months now, it's not 1 or 2 months, but many months when the market was heading upward, I know lots of people bought first and then sold. But they had confidence in selling. They knew that I'll have no problem selling, and they had a confidence. It still had its risks, but they had confidence that, hey, my neighbor had 20 offers, we're going to be good, we're going to sell. And it worked out for many, many people. But let me tell you now, if you have that same confidence that, no problem, I'm going to sell in this market, you should really, really look closer as to what's happening around you, because selling today, especially selling at the price you think you're going to sell, is not a given. Actually, it's a challenge even for the best realtors out there. So I'm looking at their situation. It doesn't make sense. Buying first in this market is really, really risky. We have a client that we purchased recently, and now we're in the process of putting their home on the market for sale. However, what they were looking to buy was very unique, and they do not need to sell in order to buy. They could own both properties if they so choose. They're selling because they don't want to be landlords and rent to set their other home out. But they do not need or do not have the pressure of having to sell to close. And that's a bit of a unique situation. But generally speaking, most people should really be looking at selling first before buying, because selling in this market is a challenge. To make matters worse for this family I'm speaking of, in the last week that they were on the market, some of the properties in their neighborhood that were also on the market dropped their prices. Those people have to sell. And I just spoke about this in my Toronto video yesterday, how you could be on the market and you could be all gung-ho and that's my price, but the people around you start dropping their prices. You're kind of stuck, because those lower prices now set a new precedent in the area, and your home doesn't look as good versus the much lower priced home. So it's so important you get, first of all, the right advice. And that advice should not only make sense just to the realtor who is telling you this is what we should do or this is what I advise, but that advice should make sense to you and your family as well. That advice should be centered around what's best for you. Who you hire matters, more important today than ever before. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. Let's get into the numbers. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you. This way I'll know ahead of time. I'll make sure my schedule's organized so I can talk about whatever's on your mind. And if you're looking for a beautiful 2-bedroom condo in the heart of Mississauga, check out the video at the end of this video. Let's get into the numbers here. So I have in blue Mississauga, prices went up a little bit. I've got Brampton in orange, prices went down. And in burgundy here, I have the Durham region, prices went down. Now for Durham, I'm looking at Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. That's it. That's for Durham. So also, this is only for detached properties only. There's no semis or towns or anything messing around with these numbers. Detached properties only. Let's start with Mississauga. Let's dive right in. Here's a whole year of trends of sales and prices broken down by week for a whole year. Detached properties, Mississauga. I know I'm repeating myself here. Now, 32 detached properties were sold in Mississauga for week ending June 29th. That's it, 32. I'm looking here and I'm trying to find, when were we doing so much better? Well, almost the whole year we were doing so much better when it comes to sales. We peaked at about 90 sales in 1 week. And right now we're a third of that. 32 detached properties were sold. At $2 million or more, 6 properties were sold. Average sold price did come up a bit from the previous week. It came out quite a bit actually from the previous week. It's now, average price is now $1,608,000. Look at the overall trend. We were peaking over 2 million. We're now at 1.6 is the average sold price. 1,608,000 is 8% higher than where we were last year at this time. Median price is 7% higher. Now, 3 months ago, median price was in the high 1.5 million. It's now just over 1.4 million. So 1,425,000 is the median price in Mississauga. Of the 32 that sold, 19% sold at list price or more. It doesn't say much. I mean, it's only 32 sales. But the real story in sales is year-to-date sales. We have 39% fewer sales this year in Mississauga versus last year in Mississauga. Listings, we have year-to-date 11% fewer listings this year than last year in Mississauga. And active listings has climbed up a little bit. We're at 486 active listings. What active listings means basically, well, you get properties listed, terminated, sold, all sorts of transactions as far as properties happen during the course of the week. 119 is how many were actually listed, but some of those get sold, some of those get terminated, all sorts of things happen. But right at the end, at midnight of June 29th, how many properties are actually available on the market for sale? That's active listings. So there's 486. Months of inventory in Mississauga is now sitting at 3.5. Big jump from the previous week. And if you can see the whole chart here, March 30th, 0.6. We're now at 3.5 months of inventory. We're right there as far as a balanced market goes. We say that between 4 to 6 months is a balanced market. For many of you that are on the market right now, feels more like a buyer's market because of the high that we came down from. But technically, we're approaching a balanced market. And average days on market is now sitting at 21 for a detached property in Mississauga. So think about that. 21 is the average days on market. Months of inventory, 3.5 months of inventory. Let's look at Brampton. 60 detached properties were sold in Brampton. Sales on a weekly basis for months now, since February, has been coming down. So only 60 were sold. None, 0, were sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price has come down. It's now at $1,168,000. Some of you are going, hooray, and some of you are going, oh no, depending on, what you're looking to do in the market right now. We were at peak 1,658. We're now at 1,168. Huge difference. 1,168,000 remarkably is still 4% higher than what it was a year ago. And median price is also 4% higher than what it was a year ago. Now, median price is fairly close to average sold price. Median price right now is sitting at $1,133,000. 3 months ago, it was $1,450,000. So there's approximately a $320,000 difference in median price in the span of 3 months. When we look at sales to date, year to date, we're 42% fewer sales in Brampton this year versus last year. That's a big difference. And listings, 13% fewer listings year to date this year versus last year. Now, at the beginning of the year, there was far fewer sales on a weekly basis, fewer listings on a weekly basis versus last year. The blue are last year's numbers, but over the last month or so, we're actually listing more on a weekly basis than what we were listing last year at the same time. Months of inventory, it came down a little bit, but we're at 2.4. Generally speaking, months of inventory is going up. Average days on market is sitting at 14. And again, months of inventory 2.4. And with the prices coming down, we're approaching a balanced market, but feels very much like a buyer's market. So here's Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. I'm calling this the Durham region for the way I look at things. 63 detached properties were sold. One of those was at $2 million or more. Average sold price has come down further. It's now sitting at $1,125,000. Remember the 1.5, 1.6 days? That's ancient history. We're nowhere near that. We're now at $1,125,000, which is 2% higher than last year's average sold price. And if we look back over the last 3 or 4 weeks, there's been a few weeks in there where average sold price was lower than last year. Right now, we're sitting at 2% higher than last year. Median price is 0.2% lower than what it was a year ago. 3 months ago, median price was 1.3. It's now sitting at $1,050,000. That's the median price for the Durham region. Of the 63 that sold, 59% sold at list price or more, which I got to tell you, of all the regions, the amount selling at list price or more being 59%, that's one of the highest in all the GTA. So they still have a bunch of multiple offers and prices being set lower and having an offer day. That's still going on quite a bit in Durham region. Year-to-date sales, we have 31% fewer sales this year than we did a year ago, and 5% fewer listings this year than what we were listing last year, year-to-date. Months of inventory has stayed the same for a few weeks now, sitting at 1.2. And as far as all the GTA goes, 1.2 is one of the lowest months of inventory of all the regions. And you look back up here, we have 0.5 on March 30th. If we went back further, we would see in Durham region months of inventory of 0.2, 0.3. We're now sitting at 1.2, and average days on market is 13. Here's condos for Peel region. Now, the majority of these condos are being bought and sold in Mississauga, but I've got all condos for Peel region. Only 35 condos were sold. One of those was at $1 million or more. Average sold price has come down from the previous week. It's sitting at $645,000. At our peak, we're at $753,000. We're now at $645,000, roughly speaking, $100,000 down. Condos, percentage-wise, are outperforming the detached market by far. Condos at $645,000 is the average price, is 13% higher than what it was a year ago, and median price is 12% higher than what it was a year ago. 3 months ago, the median price for condos in Peel region was $710,000. It's now $610,000. So in 3 months, we lost, as far as median price goes, it's come down $100,000. The detached market, it's come down $300,000 in the same span. Of the 35 that sold, 34% sold at list price or more. 3 months ago, 86 was selling at list price or more. It's now 34%, and year-to-date sales, 23% fewer sales this year versus last year. Listings are actually up year-to-date. We have 5% more listings this year versus what we were listing last year. Months of inventory has shot way up. It's now sitting at 3.5 months of inventory. We are basically, for the condos, for sake of argument, we're sitting in a balanced market type of scenario. I know it's going to feel like a buyer's market, and a lot of the buyers are behaving and winning and acting like they're in a buyer's market, and it's working out great for them. Technically, we're just approaching a balanced market. Average days on market is sitting at 20. Here's a quick summary. Pickering stayed the same. Brampton came down a bit as far as months of inventory, but just by a little bit. It's still high. And if you look at Mississauga and condos, you're at 3.5 months of inventory. It's a whole different world out there, folks. But you still need the right advice. The right realtor is going to guide you through. The market is not so easy these days, especially if you're looking to sell. Make sure you get the right advice that makes sense to you. Who you hire matters. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day. Bye-bye. Let me introduce you to Unit 1906 at 339 Rathburn Road West. This is a big condo at 948 square feet, has 2 bedrooms, a large den, 2 full bathrooms, floor-to-ceiling window, tons of features. And the amenities here, apart from the usual, has an indoor pool, a tennis court, and a bowling alley. Check it out.